Good morning, everyone. It is in New York around 4:37. In London, where I'm still in the UK for at least another 2 months, it's around 37, I guess, after 9. The reason for this video is I am letting you guys see what's happened in the last year, where we got stopped out, and what's happened since. This is one of the X funds. This was what the JBS Capital account was supposed to look like when we first started with the Bose Group. It's changed a little, but it is now doing what it's supposed to. It's generating around 15 to 20% a month. It's a little bit more risky, obviously, but it's not the Pacific Fund. I'm going to show you a chart of the Pacific Fund. What I want you to see is the progression since we started the beta stage, as we call it. This is when the trade war started. One or two bad trades, recovered. One or two bad trades, recovered. After the 2nd of April, I believe that we will double our money, most likely within the next 4 to 6 months. So whatever's in your accounts, you're going to see that doubled. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. This is the Pacific Fund. This is a little bit more steady. This is the one that generates anywhere from 4 to 8% a month on average. I think we average out 6%. This is what's happened this month of March. We're going to have probably a very small loss, and it relates to your account. If your account's down around 2%, that's about normal. We've made money for at least since this period here. We've been making money. So we must be making money since let's say October, January of last year. We've been steadily making money. So everything is working fine, and we added a new AI in the summer, a product of Merrill Lynch that they let us use, and the returns are becoming incredible, actually incredible. Let me go now back to the MAM account. This is the one I call the X fund, the gambling one. This is the one that produces 20-30% a month. I'll go back to when we first made it. We set this up for TradeView, but keep in mind, when we have a drawdown, when we have a stop out, it's going to be a heavier one. But this is what it looks like going forward. Once again, trade war started, recovery, trade war started, and like I said, probably using both, a mixture of both in the Pacific. That's what we're starting to do. I believe that we will double our money in 4 to 6 months. And if I'm off by 20%, please don't send me an email or a text or call me and say, hey, you said we were going to double, we only made 70%. We're going to try to get as close to doubling our money as possible. Okay, and these trade wars are going to do it, because it's not like when we got stopped out last year with the interest rates, because the interest rate war was a little different, because every currency was trying to protect itself. Now every country is going to try to protect itself, but it's going to create volatility, and that's where we make our money, when it's volatile, when it's going up, down, sideways. With the interest rate wars, there was volatility, but it was controlled by the government. So it was almost like currency manipulation. It was a little bit more difficult. That's why we got stuffed out. We went to cash. We kept back up. So a lot of us are starting to see our high watermarks that have stayed. A lot of you have left, and I understand. You've got other obligations. That's fine. I'm just letting you guys know that it has nothing to do with what's going on with the U.S. I'm not a political guy. I live in Canada. I've lived in the U.S. for 21 years. So my time has basically been split between the two countries. And I love Florida. I love living down there. I love the people. What's going on is, like our Prime Minister said, it's one person doing all of this. Let's just make as much money as we can for at least 2 years, because I believe after 2 years, the playing field might change. Now, how it's going to change, we don't know, but we know it's going to change. And my partners, and I work for a bank, my partners are saying the same thing. Just keep churning away, keep making the money. So this, in the next, let's say, week, you're going to see this probably up here, somewhere at either midpoint or back up to where it was. We're calculating around 14 days. Anybody needs to reach me, wants me to explain some of this stuff, why the grids have changed. By the grid, let's see if I can show you what I mean by the grid. I probably can on these screens. By the grid, it's the multiplier of risk. We're taking more trades at a lesser risk on the front end, and we're waiting for it. If it goes against us badly, that's where we start increasing the volume of how much we buy. whereas before it was a multiplier of 2. It went 1, 2, 4, 8, almost like a martingale. We don't do that anymore because of what's going on in the market. We still make the same amount of money. We're just not exposed on the front end as much. And these algorithms and things that we play with, these AIs, they have to be tweaked over almost monthly or bi-monthly whenever the political or the geopolitical arena changes. We need to change them. You can't just, it's not just turnkey like some people might lead you to believe. We have to change the way these things work almost on a monthly or bi-monthly basis. I just changed them before this April the 2nd appears here in front of us because I know that we're going to have a problem, and I want to make sure that my risk levels are different. If anybody wants to get a hold of me, try to use JVS Point Capital Point Group at gmail.com or Vincent32767 at gmail.com. Trying to get me on WhatsApp is probably the fastest way, but some of you that have left me messages while I'm trading and don't understand it, I actually do know what's going on with the market, probably won't be able to get through to me, and it's probably better to use the email. The ones that I don't hear from very often, those lines of communication will always be open to you. Sometimes I get text messages, you know, when I get a situation like we have up here, you know, like oops or ouch, as if I don't know what's going on. I'm watching the screens constantly. So yeah, let's just keep everything the way things are going. And like I said, 4 to 6 months, I believe we're going to be looking at a double.